What's up, guys? It's Chris. Hopefully you can hear me okay and you don't mind me not being on camera because jaw's still a little swollen, so I'm doing my best here. But to go along with our new initiative, I thought I would cover a few things that relate to it and will hopefully help you out or maybe help you find some services you like and whatever. So the thing that this weekend we are featuring writers on Legiit. Writing it's a big category and it's one I use a lot, and it's a lot of opportunity in my opinion. So I wanted to show some things that I look for when I'm picking a writing service, and just kind of go over that and then maybe show you some ways you haven't thought of to use writing services and go from there. So again, if I seem a little loopy or my voice is a little off, please forgive me. It's been quite the week. The one I want to give, let me back up a little bit. One thing that baffles me with writing services is how bare bones some of the descriptions are. That is to say that they're fine, like they're formatted okay, and the English and the grammar and punctuation and stuff is fine, but it's very, very generic. It's very what I call Wikipedia writing, meaning it just lists the facts and doesn't really write anything. And, you know, to some extent, I understand that with like an e-commerce or a SEO or a graphic service. But with a writing service, you should write really good descriptions and profile pages and sales pages. So I wanted to show at least one that I know is quite good, and then show some that could use some improvement. And on those, I'll try to block out who it is if I can find a way to do that, so it's not to pick on anybody. But I just want to show, like, I've had writers approach me before and say, why am I not making any sales? And I look at it and their profile, it's just not very well written at all. So their profile or their sales page is just not very well written at all. And I'm like, if you're a good writer, why not take the time to write a good sales page? And some of that I'll cover in the less than ideal example, but I know where some of that comes from. But I want everyone to know they don't have the same thing holding them back. But for now, let's take a look at one that I know to be quite good, although there is one thing that needs to be fixed. And this is premium articles that grow your biz, with a little rocket ship emoji. And this is from Sam. Sam is someone I've worked with. He actually runs my Twitter, and he writes quite a bit of content for me as well. Now, what I like about this is that it's not just, I will write 500 to 2,000 words with 2 revisions in these categories in this amount of time. This is actually something that's written to encourage me to buy it. Expertly written content that drives traffic, conversions, and engagement. Warning, I don't waste your time. So basically it explains what it is, but it also sells the benefits. Then it gets into, I don't want to waste your time. It tells you who it's not for. And then it explains why it's going to be a little more expensive than some others. Then it explains who it is for and the requirements. It uses visual elements to make it stand out a little bit. It explains why it's better than other ones. And then it uses visual elements like bolding and bullets and things like that to make it easier to read. It uses proper line breaks. People that come from academia don't always get that, even if they're like very qualified writers. With web copy, it's better to never have more than 2 sentences with a line break if possible, without a line break if possible. And he's implemented that. Detail and use of example. It looks like he's got an image missing. This was the thing I said that he needs to work on. It looks like it's just broken though. But you can see then he uses video to show some success that he's had with some of his articles. It's enumerated. Then it gives you the one that's different. That's a copy principle that makes it stand out. I'm a terrible writer, which by the way is not true. But it's unique. It stands out. The only thing he needs to do is fix the images. Then it comes down here with social proof with me. Looks like another broken image. Dylan, some other customers, some reviews, and then links to other things that he's written. So these happen to be on Legiit. If you have a portfolio, you can link them here. He uses a call to action at the end, and then he gives some disclaimers and things like that. So this is a well put together, other than the broken images, this is a really well put together page that shows that he knows how to write, because he wrote a sales page rather than just what we're going to look at here in a second. So let me find an example of one that could use some work. Okay, so here are a couple that, again, I've done my best to hide the username so as not to make fun of anybody, because that's not my intention at all. But it's something that could use some work. And I chose this particular one. I chose two, but I chose this one in particular because I can tell that it's something that came from Fiverr, because they allow very, very little formatting and very little creativity, and just in general, they don't allow you to express yourself very well. And I can tell because they use this type of highlighting, and it's literally just copied and pasted from Fiverr. So this one is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with this, but it's all talking about themselves. Do you have not necessarily all, but do you have a blog, or have you always wanted to but don't have the time? I'm the person to hire. See, it immediately goes into talking about themselves. And then it just also some bullet points, but it doesn't really explain. There's just not a lot to it. Remember how the other one had all that information about why you would want to use it and why writing is important, and it basically sold it. This is more of there's really nothing that stands out about this. So I've written hundreds of articles and thousands of words for my blogs and clients. I can help you create SEO friendly, engaging, and highly readable. See, there's nothing wrong with this, but there's just nothing that stands out about it. It's very vanilla. So I feel bad like criticizing, but I'm hopefully helping. But if you look at it, there's just no copy to it. And I know it's because it came from Fiverr, and they have very, very strict guidelines on what you can do there, and there's not that much creativity allowed. So I think that's it. So this could stand to be have a little more pizzazz and be jazzed up a little bit and be a little bit more salesy as opposed to just informational. I think that's probably the point I'm trying to make. And then one other. This one, it's just a little too empty, right? It needs more work. It seems very friendly. Like, the person that wrote this seems like a friendly person. And assuming this is true, they are qualified. But there's nothing here that makes me think they can write well, because there's almost no words. And on this one, there's nothing that makes me think they can write well, because it looks like a template that they just kind of filled in. So it's just, if you're going to sell writing, you need to use writing to sell writing, if that makes sense. So I want to give everybody the opportunity to see things that I look for when I look for a writing service, and this is some of it. So I hope that helps on that. The other thing I wanted to talk about is some ways that you can use writing services. So let me there's a couple I want to highlight that are a little different, so that, again, I apologize if I'm not putting out my best foot forward here. I'm a little out of it. This one, for example. Now, this is, as you can see, this is a pricier service, but it's worth it, because what this does is it creates a content cluster, a topic cluster. Those of you that aren't familiar with SEO may not totally get what that's about, but that's basically where you create one giant article that's kind of like the hub. You can't really see it there, but let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, not really. But it's like the hub or the pillar, and then it has the different charms hanging off of it. I like to think of it as like a charm bracelet, where there's like the one thing and then the bracelet and then the charms hanging off of it. It's not a great analogy, but basically, for example, you could create like a giant 4,000 word post on affiliate marketing, and then posts hanging off of it. Affiliate marketing for beginners, affiliate marketing programs, affiliate marketing niches, things like that. So this is a great example of a unique writing service that isn't just a blog post or a sales page or anything like that. And again, here you can see some of the elements we talked about in the first example I gave. So think about, if my point that I'm making is, if you're buying writing services, Think about more than just one blog post at a time. Come up with a content strategy, and I'll show you a service for that here in a minute. Come up with a content strategy, or think of different, if you sell services, think of different ways you can go about it. And I'm going to talk about niching here in a second as well. But this is a good one. This is a great example of that. Let me find one other one that I do it. If we come over here to the Surfer SEO content category, where is it? This one. This one I like because it's rewriting existing content. So if you have like some old blog posts, and to be perfectly honest, this sales page could use some work. But so it goes against what I said in the first one. But if you have like some old blog posts, you can see I've used this heavily. So if you have like some old blog posts that are well written as far as being engaging and grammatic, but they aren't necessarily that great for SEO, this is a great service to use for that. So check that out. This is instead of just I will write a Surfer optimized SEO post for you, what he's doing is actually taking existing content, or I think there's an add-on to get writing as well, but to create existing content and make it rank in Google. So maybe you have the good piece that you wrote or had written, but you don't get any traffic to it. This is a good way to go about that, to get the best of both worlds. So that's another angle if you are someone who's done a lot of blogging but not had a lot of success, or maybe you just want to get you have some content that you really like, but you want to get more eyes to it. This is a good service to offer or to use. So there's that. And then one other thing I want to talk about is having niche specific services, like writing services. There is good and there's bad to that. For example, I needed some NFT content a while back, and I know somebody else that has as well. And I went to this gentleman here, and he did a great job for it. But the problem is he doesn't have non-niche specific content. Both of his services are for NFTs and crypto, which is great for the people that are going to need that. And it's good that he has that there. But he doesn't have anything to kind of like fill out the body of what he does. What I mean by that is there's no a general blog post on these topics, or a sales copy or landing page or anything like that. Like, you need something, in my opinion, you need something broader, because a lot of the people on Legiit are businesses. So you don't know what niche you can specifically need to be. So if you have a niche you're passionate about, list a writing service for that, but also have, if you can do it or if you want to do it, a generalized writing service, whether it's blog posts, whether it's ebooks, whatever. So that's just another route to go about that. So I get that there wasn't a ton of direction to this video. That's partly because I'm on painkillers from getting my wisdom teeth out, and my voice is a little shot too, but I think this will help. I think this will support the weekend wackiness. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, let me bring that up. So this is something that we're starting today to feature some of the other category, each of many of the categories that we have on Legiit. And this weekend we're doing writing. So every weekend we're going to let people that have a service in a particular category highlight what's great about that category, or what's great about their service in that category. Or if you're a customer and you have one you like, you can promote it and things like that. So that's what the point of this video was to give you some of my thoughts on writing services, and maybe I'll post a list of some of my favorite writing services and go from there. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, let us know here in the Legiit Facebook group, if you're watching this somewhere other than Facebook, that is. And yeah, have a great weekend, and we're going to do this again soon. Peace.